Hey guys, so I've been fooling around with a slightly different kind of warrior control deck in Constructed for the last couple days. Initially, it was a deck that I found I found a version of it on Reddit, and I played with it, and I didn't do so well with it. But it felt to me like it could work, and one of the main reasons why I decided to make the changes that I did and to use this deck is because Handlock is very, very popular on ladder right now. And to beat Handlock as warrior, you need to make sure that your deck is more greedy than their deck is. Like, you basically need to have answers for all their big minions, and you need to make it so that their hero power almost works against them. And the way that we do this, the main way, is through the use of Iron Juggernaut, which is the new warrior legendary from Goblins vs. Gnomes. For people that aren't familiar with it, when you play it, it's 6 mana, 6/5. When you play it, it throws a card into your opponent's deck that when they draw it, it does 10 damage, which is pretty huge. So basically, you're getting the opportunity to randomly Pyroblast your opponent for basically 1 mana, because the Iron Juggernaut is a 6/5, which is not amazing stats, but if you look at a comparable card in Boulder Fist Ogre, it's a 6/7 for the same price. So basically, you're losing 2 health on the Juggernaut to be able to put that card in your opponent's deck, and 2 health is roughly worth 1 mana. So essentially, it's a 1 mana Pyroblast. It just happens at a random time, which is like really, really strong, but it doesn't necessarily fit in the current warrior control meta because it's a very slow card, and you kind of need to work your deck around it. So what I did was, because against certain classes you go to Fatigue constantly, Zoo, Priest, Control Paladin, all 3 of those you go to Fatigue like damn near every single game. So what I did was, initially there was 2 of each Panda in the deck, but I went down to just 1 Ancient Brewmaster because it is not like useful Brewmaster. If you have to play it as a 2-drop, it's great. Ancient Brewmaster, if you have to play it as a 4-drop, it's not quite as great. So I went down to 1 Ancient Brewmaster because I still wanted to fit all the other normal stuff in the deck. That allows you to, when you get close to Fatigue, or your opponent is like, say they're on like 14 health, you can start playing turns where you just play Iron Juggernaut, bounce it back into your hand with Panda, and then do whatever you need to do, and then the next turn you're playing another Iron Juggernaut, potentially bouncing it back into your hand. So you can put up to 4 mines in your opponent's deck with this deck. That's not the only win condition though. You can see I removed Grom from the deck because it is the deck is designed to go to Fatigue in every game against in control matchups. There is a ton of life gain if you have to. Like, it has NT Keelbot, it has Alexstrasza, and we also have like 2 Shield Maidens. So if you need to, you can always bounce the Shield Maidens back to your hand. For other cards, standard warrior stuff, 1 Whirlwind to help deal with the aggro matchups, 2 Armor Smiths as usual, 2 Fiery War Axes, 2 useful Brewmasters. Bouncing Blade is in here because it's also very good against Handlock. A lot of times what happens when you're playing against Handlock is on turn 4, they drop Twilight Drake, and you have no good answer for it. And when you have no good answer for it, that means it is just going to run into your face over and over again and shred your armor each turn. Now, the one way you can deal with that is to run Silence, but I don't like running Silence in Control Warrior just to deal with one matchup. Like, Silence would be okay against other matchups, but it's still not like super amazing. So we are running 1 Bouncing Blade, just so that we have that one turn where no matter what happens, if we have an empty board, we can always remove their 1 big minion that play. Big Game Hunter, also you can bounce it, especially against Handlock. You can bounce it with useful Brewmaster, and like, I've had games where I bounced it like 3 times and killed pretty much all their giants with the same Big Game Hunter. Deathbite, pretty standard. Ancient Brewmaster, I already explained that. And T-Killbot just gives you a little bit more reach, and lets you survive when you either lets you survive against aggro, or when you do get to the Fatigue stage and your opponent has like somewhat of a board that is threatening you. You can always play Anti-Killbot and potentially bounce it back to your hand or not, but it gives you that big 8 health restore of 8 health, which is huge. You can also, in the mirror matchup and against Paladin, you can always consider bouncing Harrison Jones back to your hand. Harrison Jones is really strong, and getting to play Harrison Jones twice is super strong. Sludge Belcher, perfectly standard. Iron Juggernaut, I explained that already. Otherwise, no rag in this deck either. I needed to cut some things in order to fit in all the other stuff, and I just wanted to remove a little bit of the RNG factor. So even though I love rag dearly, I took him out of the deck just so that we can focus on getting these combos off that allow us just to gain like tremendous amounts of life and just completely outlast our opponent. It is an exceptionally greedy deck in that you are often just completely like shutting your opponent down. They set up like a huge board that you end up brawling, and the next turn you end up gaining like 8 health plus 5 armor, and it's just really ridiculous how long you can survive with this deck. I've had games where I had like 2 health on turn 5, and I ended up being able to outlast my opponent just by constantly bouncing minions back to my hand. So it is a really strong deck, I feel. I think it needs a little bit more tuning, but I've had really good success with it on the ladder. And you might think that it's only good against control decks, but it actually has done really well for me against Hunter. Being able to bounce those heals and bounce your Shield Maidens back to your hand and just keep gaining health every turn. Well, like you trade your Shield Maiden with one of their like 2-drops or whatever, bounce it back to your hand, and then replay it. So you end up just gaining tremendous amounts of health. You completely control the board, and they really don't have a lot of options unless they just happen to get all their burst at once, or they just get like a series of really lucky top decks. I think I actually went 8-2 against Hunter today with this deck, which is probably variance, but my normal record against Hunter is about 65 to 70% with Control Warrior, so it is quite a bit above the normal expected win rate versus Hunter, at least for me. And against Handlock, I only played 3 games, but I won all 3 of them, and it wasn't even close. Like, my opponent had no chance at all. The only matchup I had trouble with in the slightest was Mech Mage, and that's basically I played 3 games against Mech Mage today. I lost 2 of them, and it was basically my starting hands in both games were complete garbage, and I just didn't draw into what I needed. So it is a very strong deck. If you guys want to try it out, I'm going to upload a bunch of videos of me playing the deck so you can kind of see how it works. I know sometimes I play like super greedy and I don't always play optimally with it, so keep that in mind, but it's a really fun deck at the very least. And I went from rank 9 today to rank 5, and then I backslid a little bit with it in just a few hours. So definitely try it out if you're interested in playing a slightly different Control Warrior, and I hope you guys really enjoy it. Thanks.